Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. First of all, if you guys could please smash that like button, I'd really appreciate it. If you guys could leave a comment down below, even better. It super helps the channel out. I know I say it every time, but I can't stress it enough how much the likes and the comments actually do for the channel. So I really appreciate all you guys that are liking, and anybody that's leaving comments. It kind of just lets me know who's watching as well. So please drop a comment down below so I know who's watching. It's Wednesday morning, it's bright and early. We're back at the shop. I had to stay a little bit late last night. I didn't get home till about 9 p.m., but I did that to stay on track. You gotta stay on track, gotta stay motivated, and consistency is what takes the win, guys. Slow and steady wins the race. So anyways, if you guys check out the last vlog, I showed you guys this tailgate. It was really damaged. It was completely crushed in on one side, and when it did that, it creased right here and completely crushed this area, which twisted the latch, and the tailgate would no longer latch. What I did is went ahead and took out the latch, the back plate right there that got inside, and I was able to, as well as grind the paint off here, and I was able to weld some studs here and use a slide hammer to start pulling, a little bit of hammer and dolly action, a little bit of pry bar action, and I was able to get the metal to get straight again. But in that process, it separated the skin of the tailgate. So what I ended up having to do is hammer and dolly this edge again, but it just still wasn't holding tight enough, especially for the support that I needed for the latch. So I went ahead and just put in about 5 spot welds, and I grinded them down, and they're barely even noticeable. By the time it's all painted and done, you won't even see. I wanted this customer to bring his truck by yesterday before I primed to make sure it fit again, but I'm confident that it is going to fit. He was able to not make it, so I had no choice, but I had to stay on track and get this thing in primer. So we're just gonna cross our fingers on this one, but I am really confident that everything's back in place. I have the other side to compare to, so everything looks very consistent, as well as the other side. So today we are going to get this tailgate prepped out. There was a big dent area right here. If you guys follow me on Facebook or anything like that, you guys can see pictures of that. There was a couple dents on the top of the tailgate as well. There was kind of a dip in this lower area, although there isn't a Dodge Ram emblem that goes here. There's a 4x4 emblem, as well as a Bighorn edition emblem as well. We probably won't be sticking the Bighorn emblem back on. I'm going to ask him about his 4x4, but we're at least going to stick the Ram back in the center at least. We're going to go ahead and get this tailgate prepped out. We're going to get it blown off in the booth, hung up, and refinished, and then that way tomorrow we can take it down, do any wet sanding if we need to, and machine buffing, and we'll go ahead and put the latch in and that rear cover. And I think Friday the customer's going to come pick it up, so we'll have it ready for him by the end of the day tomorrow. Also, that was just something I kind of squeezed in, but inside the booth we're going to squeeze in here. I have this Ram truck. If you guys saw in the last vlog, there's a body line that goes here and kind of just fades out, as well as a body line here that kind of fades out. There's a little bit of a body line there, and just a nice curved, compound curve area right here. So we went ahead and got that spot primed. We got it repaired, put in high build primer. So we're gonna go ahead and rip off the paper. I'd have to do a lot of masking since we're inside the booth, but we're gonna go ahead and rip off the paper and get this thing out in the prep area. We're gonna prep this entire bedside, as well as the tailgate. They are 2 separate jobs, but they are the exact same paint code from Chrysler. It's PW7, it's just a solid white. So we're gonna use our white epoxy primer, make it all white, and then we'll go ahead and blend out the bedside in PW7 and color out the tailgate in PW7, and then bury in some high quality clear coat. So there you have it. I know you guys didn't get to see an update as far as the body work, but if you guys look back in that other video, this was completely crushed in, twisted. A new replacement tailgate was about $150 shipped, but if you guys look in a few vlogs ago, the last tailgate I ordered for a newer Ram, like the one that's in the booth, came completely messed up. The company did work with me a little bit on my labor and reimbursed me, but I spent way more time than what they paid me to do. So I already have probably more time and labor repairing this one than a new tailgate would be, but I'm confident that the new tailgate would probably come with bent corners, probably a couple dents, some bad machined edges, and honestly, replacement tailgates, at least the aftermarket, are a lot of the times thinner. I don't know if they're like 22 gauge steel instead of like 18 gauge, but a lot thinner, a lot weaker. If you lay them on a stand upside down, they dent. He would also have lost his bed liner. The last tailgate replacement that I did was over $1,000, so I'm trying to keep this one around the $600 area as far as a repair, and which is not a lot, but like I said, I can kind of capitalize on the profit squeezing that tailgate in because I already had this bedside repair scheduled. Obviously it took me a little bit longer, but we'll be able to coat them the same color at the same time, and it's just kind of like a bonus on top of that repair. So I do that quite often. I schedule a lot of the same colors at the same time. I do a lot of bumper cover replacements at the same time. I'll go in the booth and paint 2 or 3 bumpers at a time, even if they're different colors. So just really helps kind of capitalize your profits. Also on the lift right now, we still have the coupe here. I just test fitted these pieces one more time, that way I could get a better visual as far as how they're fitting. These rear canards, what I do like is it drops the bumper down about a good 1.5 inches actually, lower, which kind of equals them out to the factory rocker panels. If you look there, the bumper drops down and is level with the bottom of that factory rocker panel. So painted to match, these are going to blend in. We're going to apply some 3M double back tape here. There is one factory hole here I'm going to utilize for the mud flap, and there are 2 mounting locations here that I'll probably utilize as well to go through the bottom of the bumper. I don't want to put any holes in the face, nothing like that. I don't want to put any extra holes in the fender well, just in case I decide one day that I don't want to run these anymore and the bumper is repairable and paintable as much as need to be, except for maybe 2 small holes on the bottom which you would never see, and they'd be fillable anyway. So really happy with how these things fit. They were only about $45, maybe $50 online, so I've never had them before in any of my cars, so pretty happy with how they fit. They're very subtle, but painted to match. They will add just a little bit of styling to the side profile of the vehicle. So super pumped on that. Mikey was in yesterday as well. We went ahead and did a warranty oil pan gasket replacement. So we knocked that out in a couple hours, and he got to work on this lip fitment. We struggled with the same fitment on the Type R lip on his Integra as well. He did a little bit of shaving, which I really liked because he got his lip to fit really good. On the Del Sol, I didn't do any shaving. I just painted it and put it on, and one corner's kind of like super stretched and it kind of fractured the paint, and since like day one there's been like a chunk of paint missing on the corner of the inside of the lip. Not really a big deal. It's kind of a daily driver for the most part anyway, although it does stay parked inside the majority of the time and doesn't really come out in the winter, but for the most part it's a daily, so it's not a big deal. But I wish I would have took some time and actually done some shaving to fit these lips, because they are making copies on copies. They are probably taking them right out the mold and doing very little bare minimum trimming and throwing them in a pile, and they're not doing any fitment anymore. But Mikey did some shaving and he got it to fit pretty tight. He took almost a 1/4 inch of material out of this entire face and the side profile, and now it clips right over with barely any stress. And once we put a couple screws in there, it'll be just fine. Well, of course, he even took a little bit out of the center, and we're going to do some 3M double back tape in the center. And he did a really nice job on the fitment on the side profile, and of course a couple screws on this end as well. The old lip was a little taller, so we got a couple holes to fill and a couple paint touch-ups after we get this one mounted. This is the 3rd lip that's been on this car since it hasn't even really hit the streets yet. So the first one, I was loading it out of my storage container and onto a flatbed trailer, and the trailer didn't have as much support on the bottom as it went down a little bit. I knew it would go down, but didn't think it would go that much. It completely crushed the bumper and broke the lip and all the paint off. So the second one, which is the one that you would see in a few vlogs in the last updates on this, you would see that the old one was just a little bit kind of crazy, and it dropped real low, and it was much lower than the rest of the car. It's almost like the rest of the car needed like some sort of body kit or something. And I honestly just kind of talked myself into liking that second one. It was a little bit of a different style, and I thought it would be cool to be a little bit different, but I just really did not like the look of it. So painted the match. This is going to look real subtle and very clean and simple and elegant, and it just drops the bumper a little bit once again to go in line with the factory rocker and those rear canards as well. So super pumped on the Type R style front lip on this car. It's the first time I've had this lip on this vehicle. I've had this car since 2004. I've painted it 3 times. I've had probably 5 or 6 different front bumpers on this thing. I've probably had 10 lips on this thing. Lips and bumpers, I don't get crazy on the fitment and stuff. I don't get crazy on them because I know they're gonna get kind of scraped up. You're gonna hit a curb at some point. Well, I don't care how careful you are, eventually something's gonna hit it and something's gonna scrape it. It's a lowered car, so eventually, plus they get all the abuse of rocks and bugs and all that stuff as well. So honestly, even if they are good, after usually about 2 or 3 years, I like to do a new bumper cover, or at least refinish the front end because it takes the most abuse. We also have the Del Sol in here right now. I really love that Type R style lip. So without the shaving, I should have done a little shaving, but you can see it's stretched. It's kind of stretched over that corner, and when I did that, it kind of just basically chipped that paint. It's been like that pretty much since like the first week it was done, and that was about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago now. So not a big deal. Like I said, it's for the most part a daily driver. I do have a rock chip there, so at some point it might be a good idea for me to take a new bumper cover and a new lip and refinish it and give this thing a good detail, and it would be good to go. So we also have something special in from oldsoles.com. I'll put a link in the description if I remember. But anyways, they've been selling these dash overlay bezels in vinyl in color matched paint codes to the factory Del Sol colors. I didn't want to go with the Samba green because it just looked too dark, and I knew it wasn't going to match my Lamborghini lime green paint. So I reached out to them, and the owner was super cool, and he reached out to his partners and suppliers, and they were able to match the paint code for the Lamborghini to a brighter lime green color, as well as the new style. So of course these Old Soles and Del Sol stickers aren't used on the bezel. These little pieces come out. The Old Soles will be there, of course. We're gonna go ahead and take the bezel apart, or the speedometer out, and get the lens off, and we'll go ahead and apply this decal. And while we're in there, we have some red LEDs. I almost went with a green, but I just thought it would be too much green. I kind of like the red and green contrast a little bit that I have going. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick red LED bulbs inside the cluster and put this overlay in there. So really pumped. Shout out to Old Soles for getting this done for a reasonable price and getting it out to me. Super pumped on the design. I'm one of the first people to receive the new style of these, so pretty pumped, as well as a custom color that I pretty much kind of begged, and they did their best to achieve, and they absolutely killed it. So super pumped on this dash overlay. I'll hold it up to the paint right there. You can see it's absolutely perfect. I got lots of flop in my paint, so the little bit of gradient that the color has is absolutely perfect. So super pumped to get that in there with the red LEDs. I also serviced my fuel filter on the coupe because it sat for so many years, and while I did that, I thought, you know what, I'll do one on the Del Sol as well. So I have a brand new fuel filter, and when I'm in there, I'm gonna go ahead and install this VMS Racing fuel pressure gauge. So pretty pumped on that. I got it in red. It was fairly cheap online, so I'm pretty pumped to get that installed. So as long as I have some time today after I prep, mask, and paint the bedside on the Ram and the Ram tailgate, I'm hoping to have a couple extra hours at the end of the day, and I'll go ahead and get the fuel filter and the fuel pressure gauge installed. If I don't, chances are I'll do it tomorrow. after the truck and the tailgate are assembled and detailed and out the door, and we'll hop on over to the Del Sol. I also want to make sure that tomorrow I get these prepped and painted, as well as the front lip. That way Friday I can install them. Of course, I'll give you guys an update. So stay tuned, guys. I'm gonna get you guys an update on the fuel pressure gauge install on the Del Sol. They're pretty easy to get to. It's a pretty easy, cheap modification to do. The fuel filters right there. It's just about 2 pipe fittings and a clamp bolt away from coming loose, so it's not a big deal. So we'll go ahead and get that installed and get the fuel gauge on there, and I'll give you guys an update on how that looks. And at some point, I don't know when, I'm gonna go ahead and tear apart the gauge cluster. Don't know how long that's gonna take me, and I've been driving the car home every night, so I don't want to tear it apart too late in the day and not be able to finish in time and have to stay late to finish it. So hoping I get to the fuel pressure gauge today. If not, it'll be tomorrow. But I also got to make sure I leave time to paint this tomorrow, because Friday I got to paint the Infinity G37 parts, and Tuesday we have that coming in. So stay tuned. Get excited, guys. Get excited for the lips. We have the Cars and Coffee on Sunday in Bellingham, so I really would like to have the lips painted and installed on that vehicle before it comes out. And we took this last time, but I think this time I'd love to take the coupe out. It's kind of the first time it's been going, so as long as it's not pouring down raining, we're gonna head out to Cars and Coffee. So anyways, thanks for watching the videos, guys. Please leave a like, a comment down below, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.
Ooh, like LeBron though, or like Bonzo. Ooh, I'm a baller, yeah, shot caller, yeah. They love me, you can't touch me, nah, can't trust me. I'm too lucky. Look at me, look at you, what you see, what you do.